Hey everyone, this is Shadow Ninja 5461, um, also known as Black Ninja 546. I'm here. Good evening. I'm here to talk about the concept of breeding super children. Now, I have no kids of my own, so I know very little about parenting, but I do know that what I mean by breeding super children is that there was this project back in the early 20th century where people thought that giving babies toys in kindergarten that would enhance physical strength would help. And it is important to teach kids how to be athletic as young as possible. It is a good trait. And what I'm saying is that it's good to um, teach them, physical strength, and especially if you teach them martial arts like from like 5 onwards, of both genders. It's good. I've seen families do it. I've not really sure if that always done, but it is good to you know have that. I've seen this. Um, if you've heard of Evolution by Christopher Titus, I'm quoting that. There's this um, you know kids that are morbidly obese these days, and the obesity epidemic. Um, just teach them how to be more active and don't lay off the junk food. And teach them martial arts, not just from dojos, but like there's movies, there's instructional videos that can teach them how to do this thing. And, it's good for the mind, it's good for their development, and nobody wants a vulnerable kid. Like, there's these parents that are too overprotected these days saying, I don't want my kid to become violent. Well, that's not the case. I mean, the more they know how to defend themselves, the better off they'll be. They'll be less dependent on you. They'll be less babied. They'll be more grown up. And, there are kids 9, 10, 11 years old who already are tough. And we need to toughen up those kids again. If you toughen them up, we'll have a tougher generation who's more active and, and with the ability to fight. And, because it makes them weak and vulnerable, and bullies and people who harass you always prey on the weak and innocent. They can smell it a mile away. Because the innocent and the sweet are always preyed upon, because they know they can be pushed around easily, and that has to stop. You gotta toughen your kids, and that won't happen if they learn martial arts or learn to fight from a young age. Speaking of which, there is this self-esteem movement talked about by George Carlin or Christopher Titus. Says that it seems utterly ridiculous to award trophies to people who quote unquote lose or don't do anything in sports. I mean, the point of a trophy is to reward, um, athletics, and and reward people for good jobs, for excelling at something. And when you give a trophy to someone who, if they suck at it, it doesn't give any incentive to do better or to try and work out harder or train better or think better. If it's competitive sport, you got to train and bust your ass like the Olympians do. Every day out there. It'll be like someone knowing only 3 moves in martial arts and passing them a black belt on the corner without even working at it. And sorry, I just become livid. I can't stand, like, for anything you do, you have to bust your ass and work at it. And that's just life. You gotta suffer and work at it and sweat and train and do things. And I'm sure you'll agree. And it is good to, most of these families have one kid or two kids, and it is good to have larger families because the little ones will be more dependent on the older siblings to take care of them, and it's less stress for the parent. So, um, what more I have to say is that you gotta stop this, you know, reward someone for mediocrity, and you know because it's not fair to the person that busted their ass and ran laps around in a circle, or ran laps in the pool until they were and the since they were a fetus. Someone who's trained and worked their ass off. It's not fair if somebody who's not as good at something, to win. And it creates resentment, it creates jealousy, it creates anger, and it's not good. I mean, the one that actually worked their ass off to do their best should win. That's how it works. Um, and you should teach them how to fight or become killing machines at a young age, like they did in Japan or Sparta. A lot of these cultures started training them at 7 years old, and you know, to be samurai or to be Spartan, or um, martial arts has a very long legacy of that. And don't do this thing where you soften your kids. It just overprotects them. It makes them soft. It makes them weak, and it's not healthy. And so, breed super kids. Rock on. Okay, that's all I gotta say. And if anyone have a comment below, or subscribe to this channel, thank you very much.